The Taliban's military structure is decentralized, with regional commanders having significant autonomy. This structure allows for flexible, guerrilla-style tactics, which were effectively employed against the Afghan National Security Forces and international troops before the Taliban's takeover. Since assuming power, there have been efforts to centralize and formalize their military forces, incorporating elements of the former Afghan army and police to establish order and maintain control. Upon seizing power, the Taliban declared the restoration of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, promising a governance model based on Sharia law. Their military forces, in addition to conventional security operations, are involved in enforcing these laws, which include restrictions on women's rights, education, and public life, drawing international condemnation. The Taliban's security operations extend to combating resistance movements and controlling internal dissent. Regions such as Panjshir have seen continued skirmishes with resistance fighters. Furthermore, the Taliban faces threats from ISIS-K, Islamic State Khorasan Province, a rival jihadist group that has staged deadly attacks, challenging the Taliban's control and further complicating the security landscape. The transition from an insurgent group to a governing body responsible for the security and administration of a country has posed significant challenges for the Taliban. They must contend with not just military resistance, but also the massive task of governance, including providing basic services, managing the economy, and dealing with humanitarian crises exacerbated by decades of war, drought, and the recent withdrawal of international support. Economically, the Taliban's military and governance operations are under strain due to the freezing of Afghanistan's assets abroad and the cutoff of international aid, which was a significant source of the country's budget. This economic isolation has led to worsening humanitarian conditions, affecting their ability to maintain public order and provide security. The Taliban's efforts to gain international recognition and legitimacy have been met with skepticism and conditional engagement, primarily due to concerns over human rights abuses, especially regarding women and minorities. The international community's stance towards the Taliban has significant implications for their military and governance capabilities, influencing their access to financial resources and the stability of their rule. One of the most significant challenges facing the Taliban army is the integration and professionalization of its forces. The amalgamation of former Afghan National Security Forces members who surrendered or were recruited post-takeover into the Taliban's ranks presents both an opportunity and a challenge. The integration process involves melding disparate groups with different backgrounds, loyalties, and levels of military training into a cohesive force. This process is critical for maintaining security and order, but is complicated by potential loyalties to the former government and varying levels of commitment to the Taliban's ideological goals. The Taliban's history is marked by internal divisions and factionalism, which have the potential to resurface as they transition from insurgency to governance. Different factions within the Taliban may have divergent views on governance, the interpretation of Sharia law, and engagement with the international community. These internal divisions can lead to inconsistent policies and enforcement of laws across the country, affecting their ability to govern effectively and maintain control. Afghanistan's economy, heavily reliant on foreign aid prior to the Taliban's takeover, has been severely impacted by the cessation of this aid and the freezing of assets. The economic downturn has direct implications for security, as the Taliban struggle to pay salaries to their fighters and government employees, potentially leading to decreased loyalty and increased corruption. Additionally, the economic hardship faced by the general population can fuel discontent and resistance against Taliban rule, further destabilizing the country. The threat from ISIS-K and other insurgent groups poses a significant challenge to the Taliban's control. ISIS-K, in particular, has been responsible for numerous attacks targeting civilians and Taliban forces alike, aiming to destabilize the Taliban government and carve out its own sphere of influence. The Taliban's ability to counter such threats is crucial for their legitimacy as a governing power and for the security of Afghanistan's population. This requires not only military action, but also intelligence capabilities and strategies to prevent radicalization and recruitment by rival jihadist groups. The Taliban's quest for international recognition and legitimacy is a double-edged sword. While recognition could lead to the unlocking of vital economic resources and aid, it also requires the Taliban to make concessions, particularly in the areas of human rights and governance. The international community's leverage is tied to these issues, and the Taliban's willingness or ability to meet these demands will significantly impact Afghanistan's relationship with the world. The Taliban army in its current form is a pivotal force in Afghanistan, tasked with not only maintaining the group's control over the country, but also navigating the complexities of governance, security, and international diplomacy. Their ability to transition from a guerrilla insurgency to a stable governing and military entity remains fraught with challenges, including internal divisions, economic crises, and the need to balance their ideological goals with the practicalities of running a country. The future of Afghanistan under Taliban rule is uncertain, with the potential for continued conflict, humanitarian crises, and the complex interplay of regional and international politics shaping the country's trajectory. The Taliban Army's current role in Afghanistan is multifaceted, extending beyond traditional military functions to encompass governance, economic management, and diplomacy. The challenges facing the Taliban are immense and intertwined, with each decision in one arena affecting their capabilities in another. The future of Afghanistan under Taliban rule is uncertain, contingent on a complex mix of internal dynamics, economic realities, security challenges, and international relations. How the Taliban navigates these issues will not only determine their longevity as Afghanistan's rulers, but also the well-being and rights of the Afghan population. Thank you for watching.